So I'm going to try to walk through an example that will hopefully explain the pieces of this peak hour excessive delay measure. So I'm going to use a family of 4 that lives in North Brunswick. We've got Alicia, Bill, Cole, and Dory. Alicia drives to work in Princeton.
Fictional, right?
Yes, this is hypothetical. This is not using real data. It's not using a real family, but hopefully this example helps explain what goes into this measure. Bill, he takes his bike to Jersey Avenue train station and takes the train to work. Cole takes a bus to school, and Dory gets driven by her mom to a daycare near where her mom works. So again, this is the family's trips throughout the day and how they contribute to this measure, how their travel gets accounted for in this measure. So Alicia, again, she drives Dory to daycare in Princeton along Route 1, which is congested, and it's a National Highway System road, and then she goes to work. So because she's traveling in the peak hour and because she's traveling on a National Highway System road during the peak hour, any excess delay that she encounters contributes to this measure. Bill, again, he bikes to a train station and takes the train, so he doesn't contribute to this peak hour excessive delay measure because he's not on a National Highway System road, and he's not on a National Highway System road at all. Cole, he takes a school bus on local roads that aren't on the National Highway System, so his travel doesn't contribute towards the excessive delay measure. And Dory, even though she's just a passenger in the car, any delay that's experienced during her travel gets added into this measure because, again, she's on a National Highway System road during peak hour. So here's an example that we worked up, a visualization of this. I'm going to click, and maybe you'll see the car move along the road as they leave their house in North Brunswick up here on the upper right, and they travel along Route 1, and they experience some delay at maybe stoplights or maybe a congestion delay, and then they arrive in Princeton. So over on the left, this stopwatch breaks down this travel time. So it takes 36 minutes from door to door. 6 of those minutes are on the local streets at the beginning and the end of the trip, so that any delay that they encounter during that period is not counted in this measure. The next part of the chart there is in green, and that's if there was no delay on Route 1, it would take them 17 minutes to go from where they get on Route 1 to where they exit Route 1. The yellow time is that there's an acceptable delay that's not excessive. So when they're traveling below the speed limit, but more than 60% of the speed limit, that's acceptable delay, and that adds about 8 minutes of travel time to their trip. And then the last 5 minutes of the trip is considered excessive delay. So that's how their travel time breaks down in the current year for 2017. So this box on the right kind of does the math to calculate the measure. So they have 5 minutes of excessive delay on the National Highway System in the car. There's 2 people in the car, so that becomes 10 person minutes. They take this trip twice a day in both the AM and PM peak in our example, so that's 20 person minutes. There's about 240 work days in a year, so that comes out to about 80 person hours throughout the entire year. And again, trying to illustrate that this is a per capita measure, if we divide by this family of 4, it comes out to 20 hours per capita. As it works out, 20 hours per capita is about what we're seeing in the New York urbanized area, slightly less in the Philadelphia urbanized area, but you can see that this kind of makes sense, hopefully, in terms of, it's in the right order of magnitude at least for delay, and you can see how An excessive delay of 5 minutes of trip or 10 minutes a day adds up to about 20 hours per year. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, any questions about this example? We're hopeful that this does help to illustrate a bit of a complicated math in this measure, which we're required to use.